Donald Trump reemerged in public for the first time in a week after an unusual absence that stirred rumors about his health. President Trump said yesterday that he was unaware of social media speculation that he had died. I'm sorry, the most online president of all time wasn't aware of what was happening online. The only way that's possible is, oh, maybe he was dead.
What do you get when late-night sarcasm smacks head-on into a presidential ego the size of a skyscraper? Chaos, and Seth Meyers just lit the fuse. He lobbed a truth grenade right into Trump's carefully shellacked hair. And suddenly, the Donald's exploding like a car alarm inside a fireworks warehouse. Sparks everywhere, dignity nowhere.
Well, right away we know you're lying. No 79-year-old has ever never felt better. When any 79-year-old says, I've never felt better, you just assume they're being sarcastic or they're in cognitive decline.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you think. Trump's blowing his top again. Not the usual, they forgot my extra scoop of ice cream tantrum, but the full-on, how dare you say my name without applause eruption. And the culprit? Seth Meyers. The late-night assassin, armed with coffee, sarcasm, and a desk, has apparently solved the orange puzzle. One perfectly aimed joke, and suddenly Trump's ego is melting faster than hairspray in a heat wave. Turns out the truth is his kryptonite, and Seth just pressed the button.
I've never felt better. Well, that's just because you can't remember before, Pops. And by the way, no judgment. I'm 51. My main hobby is thinking about how much better I used to feel. I'd stay up until 4 a.m. drinking, then just wake up, go to work the next day without a problem. Now, if I so much as step on a Lego, I'm in a walking boot for 3 days.
And when Trump hears the truth, it's like garlic to a vampire. He recoils, he hisses, and then he lashes out with the energy of a toddler who just got told nap time is mandatory. You'd think Trump would be used to late-night comedians by now. He's practically their favorite muse, the Mona Lisa of political absurdity, except the smile is replaced with a scowl, and the mystery is, how does this man still not understand how microphones work?
Certainly very rare for President Trump to stay off camera for several days in a row.
But can I just say, in all sincerity, the week he wasn't on camera, I've never felt better. I mean, I felt great. Felt great, had that RFK Jr. energy, you know that energy?
But nope, Trump's relationship with late night is like a bad soap opera. He hates them, they mock him, he claims victory anyway. And then he ends up watching every single clip while insisting he doesn't. So when Seth Meyers shined a giant spotlight on the cracks in Trump's carefully constructed universe, it sent him spiraling.
Trump has never voluntarily stayed off camera for more than 12 hours in his life. The dude is on camera more than an eagle's nest at the zoo. In fact, this is true. He carries a tiny little TV camera in his pocket everywhere he goes. It's like an EpiPen, you know.
The irony is, Seth isn't even the loudest critic out there. He's not throwing chairs. He's not running campaign ads. He's just calmly roasting Trump with that trademark deadpan smirk, like he's narrating a wildlife documentary about a rare, unpredictable species called the thin-skinned billionaire. Trump's meltdown after this little comedy bombshell is the kind of spectacle you can't buy tickets to, but you wish you could. Seth talks about truth. Suddenly, Trump's rambling about crowd sizes, golf scores, and how his steaks are still the best in history.
Nice recovery, my man. During an event yesterday in the Oval Office, President Trump said that his efforts to fight crime in Washington, D.C. have been effective and families can now, quote, walk right down the middle of the street. Wow. He managed to get rid of the crime and the cars?
The funniest part of Trump's tantrum is the way he always tries to rewrite reality. To him, Seth Meyers isn't exposing a flaw. He's obviously jealous of Trump's success. Forget that Seth has a steady gig, a loyal audience, and the luxury of not having to pay legal fees in bulk.
After not appearing in public for a week, President Trump today held a White House press conference to announce that he will move U.S. Space Command from Colorado to Alabama. You needed a press conference for that? When you decide to bomb Iran, you announced it on social media, but I guess you needed to talk about something. You can't just have a press conference and say, I'm alive, you jerks.
But Trump doesn't stop there. Oh no. He launches into what can only be described as an infomercial for his own greatness, complete with exaggerations so wild you'd think he was auditioning for a parody sketch on Seth's own show.
During the same event, President Trump also said, quote, "Without the United States, everything in the world would die." I don't know about that. I think you're thinking about the sun. Korea India reports President Trump is planning to deploy the National Guard on Friday to Chicago, and he's already placed an order.
And let's talk about Trump's timing here. Every time he has a meltdown, it's like clockwork. Someone says something mildly critical, and boom, he treats it like a national emergency. Forget policy, forget global issues. This one's personal for me. Seth Meyers just had the guts to tell the truth, and suddenly it's like civilization is collapsing. And the best part? Trump couldn't handle it. The man actually lost it the moment Seth said he's the first one to truly disrespect the American flag.
President Trump signed an executive order last week directing the Justice Department to prosecute people for desecrating the American flag because eventually he turns on everyone.
You'd think Seth had just declared war instead of delivering punchlines. It's almost poetic. Seth exposes the truth, Trump exposes his inability to handle the truth, and we all get popcorn. This isn't politics anymore. It's performance art. And somehow, he thinks he's winning the exchange. But here's the kicker. Seth Meyers doesn't even have to respond. Apparently, we weren't the only ones taking a break.
But apparently, we weren't the only ones on hiatus. Donald Trump disappeared for like a week, only to insist he's totally fine.
President Trump is attempting to dispel swirling rumors about his health. He was spotted out at his golf club in Virginia yesterday. Rumors that the president is facing health issues began circulating on social media because his schedule had been clear of public events for several days now.
Over the weekend, social media lit up with theories about the president's health.
What makes this even funnier is how predictable it all is. Everyone knew Trump would react badly. Everyone knew he'd blow it out of proportion. And everyone knew he'd end up proving Seth's point without even realizing it. It's like watching someone step on the same rake over and over, swearing each time that this time will be different. Spoiler alert, it never is. And while Trump rages, Seth just keeps doing what he does best, calmly dismantling nonsense with humor.
After speculation on social media about his health, President Trump was photographed on Saturday at the White House with his granddaughter Kai. So don't worry, everybody. It looks like President Trump is Joe Biden? Why is that photo so blurry? That looks like it was taken with an iPhone 1.
Picture it. Trump, red in the face, finger wagging at the nearest camera, unloading on Seth Meyers as though the man personally stole his dessert at Mar-a-Lago. He's furious, but it's the kind of fury that's almost comical because it's so disproportionate. Seth poked him with a feather, and he's reacting like he just got hit with a wrecking ball.
Donald Trump and GOP leaders are panicking over a bill that would force the Justice Department to release the Epstein files. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. For seemingly the 1 millionth day in a row, a lot is going on. The Trump administration, for example, is threatening to go to war with both Venezuela and Chicago, and
Forget that Seth is basically a guy in a suit making puns. Trump treats him like the Joker to his Batman, except somehow Batman is constantly losing arguments on Twitter. And the funniest part? Trump always manages to drag in random grievances that have nothing to do with the original jab. And let's be honest, nobody does circus quite like Trump. He doesn't just bring out the clowns, he is the clown, juggling grievances, balancing on the high wire of his ego, and breathing fire at anyone who dares to laugh.
And it's nice of him to have one abroad and one at home, because now even soldiers without passports can participate. Trump wants to repeat in Chicago what he's already done in D.C., although he seems mostly fixated on the physical appearance of the troops.
This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong.
And you can tell this one hit hard, because Trump's pattern of denial gets sloppier the angrier he gets. First, he tries to pretend he doesn't even know who Seth Meyers is. Right, because a man who has publicly roasted you at a White House correspondents' dinner is just a stranger you've never heard of. Nice try. Then, when that fails, he switches to claiming Seth is irrelevant, which of course raises the question, why are you dedicating an entire meltdown to someone irrelevant? Finally, he moves into his comfort zone, bragging. Seth Meyers may have exposed the truth, but Trump exposes himself every time he opens his mouth with these over-the-top, reality-free claims.
Senators in both parties grilled RFK Jr. today over his lies about vaccines. The Trump administration is struggling to explain a strike on a Venezuelan boat. And on top of all that, we have to be on the lookout for radioactive shrimp now. For more of this, it's time for a closer look.
The bigger irony here is that Trump claims to hate late night, but he watches it religiously. Nobody who genuinely doesn't care sits there, dissecting monologues line by line, and then dedicates entire speeches to them. That's not hate, that's obsession. He's like a fan who insists they don't like a show, but they've never missed an episode and can quote every scene by heart. Seth Meyers doesn't just live rent-free in Trump's head. He's got the penthouse suite with room service.
Whether you're woke or not, you got to admit, if a soldier is not physically strong enough to lift a gun out of a holster, that would be a huge problem. Seriously, who does he think is getting these soldier jobs? Sheldon? He was too weak to carry a bazooka, so instead they had to give him a bazinga. It was so sad.
Trump can handle criticism, he can handle opposition, but he cannot handle being laughed at. Nothing shrinks the self-proclaimed biggest winner like the sound of people giggling at his expense. It's kryptonite to his super ego, and Seth knows exactly how to wield it. So Trump goes off, once again proving that Seth's joke landed exactly where it was supposed to. He doesn't see that he's walking right into the trap every single time. And while he's fuming, ranting, and flailing around like a man possessed, the rest of us get to sit back, grab some snacks, and enjoy the free entertainment. Trump may think he's the main character, but Seth Meyers just reminded everyone he's really just the punchline. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.